Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios. Thanks everybody for watching us. We're on Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park, Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and the surrounding area. Thanks for watching us. We appreciate you guys. On Facebook, we hit a new high of 6,644. Thank you for all those likes. We appreciate it. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Chip Hayner next to me and Smoking Jim Frazier ready to start chewing there. Thanks to Olive Oil's Pizzeria for sponsoring our show. We appreciate the hoagie and extra large pizza. It's delicious. And we have a lot of great sports to talk about as we do every time on Pittsburgh Sportsline. Get out to vote. Polls will close at 8 o'clock. Get your vote in there today. I don't care who you vote for, but go ahead and vote.
District 18.
Yeah, special election, man.
Special election.
Just in this area?
District 18, yes.
Yeah. Glad we could clarify that, Smoking Jim.
I can't vote in it. I live in District 14.
I voted today. All right, let's start this show. I got some things to promote here. First, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Give them a call, 412-831-1900. There we go. This is live TV, folks. Thanks, Devin Shea in the control room, running cameras and everything to do with the studio. We appreciate it. Other thing, Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Check it out. Joey Fabus only lived to be 9 years old, died of DIPG, of brain cancer. All the money that goes to the 501c3 goes to the doctors to try to find the brain cancer DIPG. Check it out. The Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Right there on South Park Road, there's a big trolley in front, can't miss it. They're also 501c3. They're run by Bill Havether, does a heck of a job there. Helped to revitalize the building with 5,000 windows. All kind of great things going on there. Check it out, Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Talking about volunteers, I want you. Tell them Uncle Al sent you. BPTV 412-831-3304. You can help us out on cameras, on the sound system. When we do all kind of shows, about 500 shows each year Dave Cable puts out, so we don't mind you coming out to help and learn how to run cameras and sound systems. Another group, if your group needs money, $100 to $5,000, BPCF, Bethel Park Community Foundation, has money for you, from $100 to $5,000 for your organization in Bethel Park. Check it out, get an application, apply for some money for your group. All right, we start our show with What's on Your Mind. That's sponsored by Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. Right past Mineral Beach, Trax Farm, out that way on 88. Check it out, 724-348-4715. Give Skeets a call. He works on anything and everything that runs on gas. You name it, he works on it. I've seen lawnmowers, weed whackers, boats, trucks, tractors, cars. Unbelievable. He even has a little Monday morning smorgasbord that he invites people to. I've been there for a few of them. Smoking Jim's, he's looking for you. Last night he said he wants you to come on out. Check out Skeets Service Station. He sponsors What's on Your Mind. And you might as well go to Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
hold it. You know what?
You got to see Levine.
We lost the pen.
We lost the green.
Oh, here it is.
It's coming your way. Nice job and catch. Here's my option quarterback days.
Little razzle dazzle.
When was that, Smoking Jim?
Back in the day.
What year was that? We still can't find out. What's your age?
But I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, and Chip Hayner and Devin Shea. Now that Yarmer Yager retired, been forced to retire from hockey. My favorite hockey player.
He's playing hockey in
But
Czechoslovakia.
not in the NHL. He was forced out of the NHL, unfortunately. But my favorite hockey player now is Alex Ovechkin.
You're a front runner.
Me and President Trump loves Russian players. So, sorry, Devin Shea. But the New England Patriots also, like when my predictions come true, New England Patriots offered James Harrison another contract for next year. I told everybody Harrison will play another year, maybe two. And going to New England has solidified his Hall of Fame induction because he'll be able to, get up to the 100-sack mark, possibly, playing a couple more years, and that's the magic number.
We appreciate your outrageous statements on Pittsburgh Sportsline.
Also, here's something that you and I may be interested in, Al Levine, the talking machine.
Tell me.
Is that there is still 9,000 tickets available for the home opener of the Pirates. So we may be able to walk up on game day and sit right next to Chip. But finally, what's on my mind is I'm a little upset that the Pittsburgh Steelers, well, I'm happy they fired William Gay, got rid of William Gay. He was half useless. Have anybody backing him up that's NFL worthy? Did we talk about Juju Schuster last week?
No.
Juju fooled me again. Finally, I'm watching a TV show, national show, and Juju's on this national show wearing Mike Mitchell jersey. So I'm thinking, okay, he's fighting for his, you know how these players do. They fight for their boy to, hey, Mike Mitchell, we, keep Mike Mitchell on the team. So they're talking and they keep showing this NBA stuff on the thing. It's out in California, it's a national show. So all of a sudden he stands up and turns around. He got King James on the back. He's wearing 23, want the Steelers to sign King James, LeBron James. He said that LeBron James will be great in the red zone. He was a great high school player. So Juju knows how to make them. Then later on, I seen him on the NBA network because he's promoting King James to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He would be impossible to stop in the red zone. So Juju knows he knows what to do to get on TV. So 23, LeBron's number, King James in the Pittsburgh Steelers uniform. Who knows? It may happen.
Smoking Jim, I'm glad you're watching that 92-inch screen.
Yay!
I guess that was it for what's on your
That's all
mind.
on my mind.
You got anything else?
That's it, buddy.
Okay, thanks. Just checking. Appreciate you, Smoking Jim Frazier. Let's go to Chip Hayner. What's on your mind?
Well, I do have something that's on my mind, but I just absolutely have to say something in response to my dear friend Jim Frazier's opening comment. Now, if Mike Mitchell is the best safety on the Pittsburgh Steelers, then that's what the problem is with the Steelers secondary. Is that he is the best they have to offer. They should have shipped him out a couple of years ago. The only thing that he's ever done noteworthy was provide bulletin board material for our opponents, okay? But as far as big hits, yeah, he's probably made more big hits than anybody else and less tackles because all he's worried about is blowing up a receiver. And he doesn't bother wrapping him up and taking him to the ground. But that's enough.
Thanks for clarifying.
That's enough for Mike Mitchell. Good riddance. But you asked me what's on my mind, and we got March Madness, and we had Selection Sunday, and I'm sitting here thinking, I was a few weeks back, maybe a month or more. The University of Louisville had to vacate their title from 2013. And that got me thinking, because that's what I do sometimes. I get off by myself and things start rambling through my head. But anyhow, so I'm thinking, and I'm like, why are teams that are under investigation being allowed to play in this year's tournament? So what we're going to do is we're going to have some college that's under investigation, and apparently they've got wiretaps with pretty damning evidence, pardon my language, okay? And yet these coaches are going to be able to take their teams to the tournament just so that they can get some momentary notoriety before they get their title taken away from them. It doesn't seem to make any sense, and I think it detracts
Go Arizona.
from the tournament. And I know that Arizona is not the only team that's
Right.
that's
Well, it's
been
a
tarnished
link,
by
link
this
to
event.
Pittsburgh, so I
Well,
haven't
it
heard
is a
that.
link to Pittsburgh, and I'm sorry that Sean Miller put himself in this position. But this is something that you can't blame this on anybody else. He's the head man in charge.
Well, he admitted what he said. He just never paid any players.
Well,
He said that. He come out strong.
Well,
One of the strongest statements I've seen.
And if there's anything that I know to be true about a college coach, is they very, very seldom ever tell the truth. So they're just like politicians.
Wow.
But I mean, I've always enjoyed the March Madness, and I always have said that this is probably, in my humble opinion, one of the greatest sporting events of all organized sports, because here you got to put everybody in a one and done tournament, and a team that may not be the best, have the most gifted athletes, or but if they could get a streak going and win 6 games, they might be able to have a moment of glory. And that's one of the things that I really do enjoy about the tournament is the upsets. The one thing I really can't stand about the tournament is what is happening right now. Actually, they call it the first four. There's 2 games tonight, 2 games tomorrow. Why don't they change the name of it to the worst 4? Because these are it's a 64-team tournament, but 68 teams are eligible to play, which doesn't make sense to me. I mean, either you're one of the top 64 or you're not one of the top 64. And and I thought that teams that were conference champions got automatic bids to the tournament. Not so much. Some of them are playing in the worst 4. So I just don't understand. It is a big money grab for the NCAA, and I'm all for the NCAA making a couple of $1 billion. They're an organization that knows just how to spend that money. So hooray for the NCAA. But all that aside, I'm still going to take a few minutes out to enjoy the basketball games. Starting on Thursday, to me, that's when the tournament really starts. And we've got a couple of first-round matchups here in Pittsburgh, and we got a couple of notable teams. Villanova, who's a #1 seed, and Duke, who's always a tournament favorite. So if you get a chance, go down to the paint can. I'm sure there'll be plenty of tickets.
Whoa.
Usually the team with the tallest black kids win, so that's Arizona this year, right? They got the 7'1" guy that didn't get paid. Yeah.
I don't see color. I have a black and white TV.
Thanks, Chip Hayner. Appreciate it. Smoking Jim, you held your record intact with bringing up race early in the program here.
Early and often.
Not once, but twice at least. So we appreciate you, Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on my mind is the magic number $84 million. Happened to flick ESPN on, and I hear this statement. Kirk Cousins talked about an $84 million contract, which you can't really sign until tomorrow, but he's talked to the Vikes about it. So looks like he got a home. He played his cards right. 2 franchise tags in a year, or in 2 years. Parlayed it into an $84 million guaranteed contract, which is the first ever that I've heard of a full guaranteed contract.
That's a 3-year contract. So he plays out this contract. He'll only be 31 years old when he's done with this contract. Okay, so he's probably could be sitting on another $100 million plus contract if he performs well.
That's good stuff, because then it takes me to Drew Brees. I heard he got an offer of $60 million. They didn't say what team, but he signed back with the Saints for $50 million, $27 million guaranteed.
Wow.
So, and as they were talking, because sometimes they throw out some facts, I'm like, Chip, I like some trivia. I like to hear the facts and think about it. They said he's earned $192 million before this contract. So the man doesn't have to worry about a buck. So he turned down a $60 million deal to stay at home in New Orleans, where he's well respected, considered like an ambassador of New Orleans and how they brought the team back, and has a Super Bowl championship. So give credit to him, but it's just amazing, an $84 million contract for Kirk Cousins. That's what's on my mind.
What has he done?
And we'll be back with some fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
Hey, look at me. I'm a classic. You can wear me anywhere, but first you have to win me at the Designer Bag Bingo.
Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
I would trade my whole draft to get. Thanks to Al Levine, the talking machine, and Chip Hader. Like I was saying, I would trade my whole draft just to get Saquon Barkley. But
Kind of like what Ditka did to get Ricky Williams that one year, huh?
a little bit different because New Orleans needed more help. The Pittsburgh Steelers already got a great team, so I don't need the draft picks, especially the way they draft. But anywho, the fiction fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac. In 2000, it goes back to 2001.
Wow.
About 17 years ago, right?
Let me figure that out. This is 18?
Wait, let me
Yeah.
You got it calculated, Chip.
16.47.
So I've been trying to get to a West Mifflin football game all season long. At the time, I was doing a radio show with Eddie Jeffries on Whammo. The original Whammo for it went out of business or got sold. And so we go over to West Mifflin. And West Mifflin at the time had a really good football team. Football team was outstanding at West Mifflin for their level of play. And I'm over there, the crowd is packed, standing room only crowd. And all of a sudden, West Mifflin is in a really struggle, you know, and they're blowing everybody out all year. And this team that they're playing had this white fullback. And every time they'd give him the ball, about 6 guys for West Mifflin would hit him, and he would carry him another 8 to 10 yards. You know, you just see the pile moving forward, and then the next year.
Any of them West Mifflin players named Mike Mitchell?
Yeah, Jim. So this team beat West Mifflin that day, and the team went on the next year to win the state championship being led by this fullback and linebacker. He went on to Penn State to be a two-time All-American in the Dick Butkus Award winner. He averaged over 100 tackles a year in his, I can't read that, in his NFL career. Averaged over 100 tackles a year in his NFL career, and he decided to walk away from the game.
He only had 11 years in.
11 years in, over 1,200 tackles. Congratulations to one of the all-time greatest players of all time, Paul Pawlowski? How you say that? Pawlowski. My Polish is,
How'd you get
is
caught
not
with
as
that?
good as it could be. But great player for Hopewell, great player for Penn State, great player for Jacksonville. I was kind of hoping that maybe he could end his career in black and gold because we lead that leadership. But job well done, and I seen him play his junior year in high school.
Here's a little footnote that I heard on my way here regarding Paul Pawlowski. Jack Ham, in his senior season with Penn State, said that he was the best linebacker that he ever saw come out of Penn State. And then the next year, Sean Lee showed up.
Yeah. Sean Lee was special. Upper
I
St.
saw
Clair.
him play against Bethel Park.
Up when he was up at Upper St. Clair.
He was like a man amongst boys.
Wow.
Just how he dominated and could tackle and how he was running the
And
ball.
he was a good basketball player too.
Yeah, definitely.
And if he could stay healthy, Dallas Cowboys have a shot because the whole team defense revolves around him. And another guy that the Pittsburgh Steelers passed on. Congratulations, Coach Tomlin.
Wait.
Yeah.
He wasn't even coach of the team when they drafted him.
They took Lawrence Timmons over
Did they?
Sean Lee. Yeah, was in the war room at the time.
Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Well, good evening, everybody, and we do have some fun here off the air, don't we?
Yes,
And
and it continues.
you know, just to get back to the NCAA basketball tournament, starts on Thursday, and this includes 64 teams are in the tournament, but they raised the number to 68 since 2011. Which I don't understand, but we'll get
Money.
How
do you spell money?
I've already touched on that. I think you all know how I feel in regards to the worst four. The tournament includes 32 champions from their Division I conferences and 36 teams which are awarded what is called at-large berths. These at-large teams are chosen by an NCAA selection committee, and I guess that's a bunch of athletic directors for that, who pays the most gets the vote. But that's the way that rolls. The tournament starts out this weekend, then it gets down to the Sweet 16. The next weekend we'll go from the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8, and then they wean it down to the Final Four. And the championship game would be 3 Mondays from this week. The tournament has been partially televised since 1969, but now almost every game is televised on one channel or another. With 11 national titles, UCLA has the record for most men's Division I basketball championships. John Wooden coached UCLA to 10 of its 11 titles. The University of Kentucky is second with 8 national titles. North Carolina is third with 6. Duke and Indiana are tied for 4th with 5 national titles. The University of Connecticut is 6th with 4, and the University of Kansas is 7 with 3. Since 1985, when the tournament expanded to 64 teams, Duke has won 5 national championships. North Carolina, Connecticut have each won 4. Kentucky has 3. Kansas, Florida, and Villanova have 2. UCLA, Indiana, Louisville, and Michigan State have 1. Unfortunately, Louisville really doesn't have one because it's been vacated. But somebody still won the NCAA tournament that year, and that's a subject for another time. During that time, Villanova, Michigan, UNLV, Duke, Arkansas, Arizona, Connecticut, Maryland, Syracuse, and Florida all won their first championships. Wow. Never had won one before then. I found that a pretty telling statistic. And if you bear with me, we'll go over the coaches that have won the most NCAA tournaments. Of course, John Wooden won 10 tournaments, 64 through 73. He won every tournament and then skipped a year, and then the 75 team won. And, the NCAA tournament has become the premier college basketball tournament. But way back in the beginning, the NIT tournament was the tournament that was the one that was the most prestigious, which has now been overshadowed by the NCAA tournament. And it's unfortunate that the teams that don't make the NCAA tournament play in the NIT, but the NIT actually has a much more storied history. People should do some research on it, okay? So, John Wooden with 10 national championships. Mike Krzyzewski with 5 national championships. The great Adolph Rupp of the University of Kentucky won 4 national championships. There's 3 coaches that have won 3 national championships. Jim Calhoun, Bobby Knight.
That's my man.
And Roy Williams. Bobby Knight, I will tell you this. If the game wasn't worth watching, his meltdown on the sideline was epic almost every time. He was truly a genius when it came to motivating players. Next up with 2 national championships each, Denny Crum, Billy Donovan, Henry Iba, Ed Jucker, Branch McCracken, Dean Smith, and Phil Wolpert. And I'm not going to go through all the coaches that have won national titles, that have won one, because the list is long, and, well, I don't know if we have enough time.
All right.
So, interestingly enough, there's nobody going into the men's tournament this year that's undefeated, okay? Now, going into the women's tournament, that's a different story. Once again, University of Connecticut with the number 1 seed is undefeated, and I look for them to possibly win, might be their 12th national title under Gino Auriemma. Yes, it is. And I think a team as dominant as the University of Kentucky or Connecticut's women team is good for the sport, regardless of what other people think. But I'm going to go down a list of, just because a team has not lost a game, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to win the NCAA tournament. There is one team that has, the last time an undefeated team won the national title was the 1976 Indiana team.
Wow. Bobby Knight.
John Wooden's team won it in 72 and 73, back-to-back undefeated seasons. That was, I guess, back during their 88-game winning streak.
Walton area.
Bill Walton area. Then also in 67, UCLA won the tournament undefeated. 64, UCLA won undefeated. So University of San Francisco won the tournament undefeated.
Bill Russell.
North Carolina in 1957. Won the tournament undefeated.
That's a typo.
But there's a lot of teams like, most recently, University of Kentucky. They had basically an NBA team, bunch of one-and-doners, and they were 34-0 going into the tournament, lost in the semifinal game to Wisconsin. Wichita State in 2014, 34-0, lost in the round of 32
I don't remember that.
to Kentucky. UNLV, 1991, was Larry Johnson?
Yeah, right after.
Grandmama.
Right after Armin Gilliam.
Yep, lost in the national semifinals to Duke. Indiana State in 1979.
Larry Bird.
The Larry Bird and Magic Johnson matched up. And unfortunately, Larry came up short in the national title game to Irvin Johnson
They lost
and the
that
Michigan
one?
State Spartans. Right, Michigan State Spartans won it all. 1976, Rutgers was 27-0 and lost in
remember
the
that.
tournament. Well, yeah, it's probably before you were born, right, Jim?
Oh,
So there
we had
was.
season tickets to the Steeler game, though.
There you go. That must have been it. But I just thought that those were some interesting statistics regarding the teams that had made it, and believe it or not, with the debacle of the Pitt season that is still ongoing, because not only did Pitt fire their coach, they're trying to claim that they fired him with cause, so they don't have to pay him the $7.5 million that they owe him.
No, 9.4 or something, or 9.8.
Whatever the amount is, if there's a signed contract, I mean, they've got to pay him. But okay, it's kind of ridiculous to me. But Pitt has actually made 2 Final Fours in its history. It's never, of course, won.
74? Was 74 one of them?
No, I can
Now
get
you
you the
gotta make 'em look at
information.
that.
No, I can get it for you here. I think one was in 2009, and the other was in 2011.
Not Final Four.
No. That's were the years that they were number 1 seeds.
Oh, number 1 seed.
Number 1 seeds, yeah. They were number 1 seeds in their region those years. They have never made the Final Four. No, they have not. But, and considering the way the basketball program has fallen on hard times, I don't think that in our lifetime we'll ever see them ever make a Final Four. And I think the person that should get the credit for the destruction of the Pitt basketball team doesn't get enough print. And I think Scott Barnes should be made, should be vilified, because, Kevin Stallings has always been a good basketball coach. He was the wrong man for the wrong place, and he was hired for the wrong reasons. And, you had an interim athletic director who was only using the Pitt job as a stepping stone to get where he wanted to. So why he took a school that had a very strong history recently in college basketball and destroy it, for what purpose? I bet you he's sitting back, whatever he's at, in the mountain time zone and chuckling. But there should be some kind of repercussions.
Well, Pitt
for
only,
him.
and I agree with you wholeheartedly, Chip, and I'm going to go right to Al after this because I know it's his segment. But I think that if Pitt want to resurrect their basketball, they got to hire a black coach. When your program's at rock bottom, go black. And they're at rock bottom. There you go, Al. Wearing the black shirt, too. You must agree.
Yeah. Pitt needs to hire somebody that can recruit, because, you know what? As long as he wins, I don't care.
Thanks for your insights, Smoking Jim Frazier, and thanks for your report, Chip Hayner. Appreciate that. On location, great show last night at Olive Oil's Pizzeria in Brookline, 930 Brookline Boulevard. One of my biggest fans, Skip Atkins, and his daughter were there watching the show. We had great guests. Deborah Clark was on for her 5th time, talking some sports and her book. So just an award-winning author. Great time, great pictures. C.C. Clark, a boxer and a gym owner in Market Square, was there. Skeets Lewandowski, sponsor of What's on Your Mind, was giving us a report on Golden Gloves. Did an excellent job. Even mentioned that he saw Smoking Jim Frazier doing some ring announcing. So appreciate that. Had a good show there. We'll be back again April 9th at Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Next week, we're back at Hollywood Lanes. Next week, that'll be the 19th. Check us out, 7:30 to 8:30. Meet Jeffrey Park at Hollywood Lanes. It's not just a bowling alley. They got a great stage where we do our show and have a lot of fun. We got guests. We got Claudio Rosano, CMU head coach, and his baseball team. Got Master Zhang, who broke a board over my head 2 years ago while I was eating a hoagie. He's volunteered to come back again and talk some more about Taekwondo. So check us out next week, Hollywood Lanes.
My honor. I would do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, morally straight.
Hey, look at me. I'm a classic. You can wear me anywhere, but first you have to win me at the Designer Bag Bingo.
Get it to him.
Welcome back. We got some Penguin talk to you. Penguins are going to be in there for the three-peat. They lost these last couple games, but don't worry, they'll be back. There's no doubt in my mind Penguins have been playing a better game ever since they flipped the switch come January 1st. It's amazing how a team can turn it on and play well. Smoking Jim talks about like when he played, he could just do that. So these Penguins are like Smoking Jim Frazier.
They remind me of Alex Ovechkin, my favorite player.
And you know,
They won 3 titles, and he's won none.
Well, I will give Jim credit for this.
Thank you.
You know, he did give a shout out to probably to a great Russian athlete, but he just wears the wrong jersey. I'm talking about the potential.
MVP.
Art Ross
MVP.
and the scoring champion in the NHL this year,
Malkin.
Evgeny Malkin. Evgeny Malkin is 1 point out of first in the scoring race, and he has scored 51 points in the 29 games
That's amazing.
since the first of the year. So if you look at his point total, he is racking them up, and you know, I think it's going largely unnoticed. You know, you always hear Sid getting the ink.
He's getting some publicity.
You hear
mentioning
Matt
about
Murray. You hear about this Brassard, you know, big trade that the Penguins made. But Evgeny Malkin has stepped his game up, and you know, I think he had a goal called back from him on Sunday night against the Stars. And by the way, the Penguins dismantled a very good Dallas hockey team on Sunday night. Jim was telling me he was on the edge of his seat that whole game. But the Penguins, really, they only gave up 18 shots on goal the whole game. And the goalie, DeSmith, said after the game that felt like a playoff atmosphere. And those are the kind of games that you play in the playoffs. And those are the kind of games that you win in the playoffs when you tighten up the defense and you control the puck. But, I mean, giving up 18 shots, there's been times this season where the Penguins have given up 18 shots in a period.
Yes.
Let alone in a game. And that bodes well because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Getting down to about the last 15 or 16 games, maybe 13. Don't know the exact number, but the playoff push is on, and there is no tomorrow at this point. We need every point that we can get. Good win. We've got a 3-game road trip that we're going on, and the Penguins need to come out of that with I think 5 or 6 points. 2 wins and a tie would be acceptable. 3 wins would be much better.
Definitely. We need a healthy Murray, that's for sure. Need him out there. The defense is coming on. Offense has been there all year. Top power play in the league.
Yeah,
so, that's impressive.
You know what? There's no sense in rushing him back because you're going to need him for the 2 months of the Stanley Cup's playoffs. You're going to need
him. He's injured
with
more goaltenders than anybody else in the league, but he has 2 cups.
Okay, because that seems to be what the Penguins do anymore is they play well into June.
Yeah.
So you got to think long term here.
And he has 2 cups smoking, Jim. Even though you don't like him,
I love him. I just like Fleury better.
Still,
well, you know what? And you
can root for Fleury.
And you know what? I've always loved Marc-Andre Fleury. And, oh, by the way, Marc-Andre Fleury won his 400th game last night.
Hall of Fame.
3-2 against the Philadelphia Flyers. And he's already there's only 2 goaltenders with more wins than he. Patrick Waugh, who was the great goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens and the Colorado the Colorado Avalanche. Thanks, Devin. And then number 1 was Martin Brodeur.
Yeah.
All time. So
wow, I didn't even know that.
He's working his way up the list.
That's more impressive than your Russian.
And the unfortunate part about Marc-Andre is that in the new era of the NHL, where the salary cap is an issue, he became a cap casualty.
Oh yeah, right.
That's what happened. That's the truth, Smoking Jim.
Well,
There's always money. Always money.
it's what it always will be. Every sport you play.
That's what we live in this day and age.
And the unfortunate part is, yes, that is the world we live in, and that's why I always say I root for the emblem on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back, because the names on the back they change. But
Well, I want to thank both of you for Smoking Jim Frazier supporting the Pirates and Chip Hayner supporting the Pirates today.
I'm always going to support my Buccos. I got my tickets last week. And I'm very much looking forward to the season. If anybody has been paying any attention, the Pirates are not lighting the world on fire right now, but they've got some solid additions to the team. And I think the key to the success of the Pirates this year lies in the performance of Starling Marte and Gregory Polanco. Polanco has been playing.
He's been playing well.
Playing very well this spring. He came into camp in shape. He went through a new training regimen over the course of this winter. And if he can stay healthy and can produce the way that the Pirates have projected him to, it could make this a very enjoyable season. Starling Marte needs to play up to his potential. These guys got paid, okay, and now they need to earn their pay. But the addition of Corey Dickerson in left field, I think, is really going to help the Pirates, because now the Pirates have 3 legitimate Major League outfielders, where for most of the year last year they did not, with Starling Marte suspended for 82 games and Gregory Polanco injured most of the year. They had Andrew McCutchen and a cast of an ever-changing cast, but having 3 solid Major League outfielders will make a difference, and having a third baseman. And this young man, Moran, who we got in the trade for Garrett Cole, he's been hitting the cover off the ball, and I think he's going to be a real nice addition to this team this year.
Hey, don't forget about Frazier. Frazier's lighting up spring training. I heard the other day he was hitting .432.
It's my favorite player.
.432 he was hitting.
You were about to say.
So Chip and L. Levine, the target machine, when I walk up on game day and buy my tickets, who should I be looking for out there?
Nova on the mound.
Who's the guy that's going to catch my eye this year? I know we got a good first base.
Well, you know, Josh Bell's somebody going to catch your eye. I think a guy that's really going to step to the forefront this year is Jamison Tyone. I think Jamison Tyon's going to be the ace of the Pirates.
He won't be pitching in that game, though.
Yeah, he's going to be starting the home opener.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, Ivan Nova is starting the opener in Detroit.
Sorry about that.
But I think Jamison Tyone has the potential to be the ace that the Pirates didn't have with Garrett Cole. I think he's gonna be real nice. The third baseman, I think, is going to be he's going to raise a few eyebrows. We're going to be solid up the middle with Jordy Mercer and a combination of Frazier and Harrison.
Frazier will play.
Frazier will play. He'll get his chance to play. He's a super utility player, but I'm looking for Josh Bell to have a breakout year. I'm looking for Gregory Polanco to have a big year.
Would you be happy with 81 wins?
Yes, I would be happy. I'd be a lot happier with 87 or 88. Okay, I'm not making any predictions right now, but I will go out as far on a limb as this. I do believe the Pirates team this year will be better than last year's team.
Wow. What a statement.
I already put money on below whatever Las Vegas had for the
Well, that's fine.
You don't even know.
Jim, as many bets as you lost.
That doesn't mean a thing to us.
All right. As many bets as you lost, man. I'm glad to hear it.
You lost 6 houses last year and you only won 2 at the end. Come on, man.
No, but
We know how you operate.
All the negativity aside, I've always loved the game of baseball. I've always loved, the beginning of baseball season. And I've always been a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I'm always going to be. Nobody's going to take that away from me. And I'm going to enjoy the baseball season because I love baseball. And I've got...
Hey, nobody can
it's
take
a great
that
way to
away
spend
from
a night, sit down in the summer, watch a ball game, and you watch my Buccos play. And
You don't mind an empty stadium?
To be honest with you, less people getting in my way. I don't have to wait in line for nothing, see?
Good point.
No, but you know what? Here's the thing that Jim says, and people are upset with the team. They're upset with the ownership, and whatever. But here's what will happen: the Pirates start winning, they will be back. The fans will be back. They're fickle like that.
That's why they're fans.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are front runners in Pittsburgh. So when the team's winning, look at the Steelers. They win a game, they're going to the Super Bowl. They lose a game, they'll never play again. Fire the coaches.
I tell you a funny story. Back in 2010, the last year of John Russell's managerial career.
Very energetic.
It was the Pirates won 57 games that year. I went to about 15 games that year, and it was tough to sit through some of those games. It really was. But my love for my team, my love for the game of baseball, kept me going back, and I was rewarded. We had 3 good years. Made some bad decisions. We had a couple of down years. I'm looking for a bounce back this year. I think that we've got the core of a pretty good team. And if some of the players that we've been counting on to produce, most notably Starling Marte, Gregory Polanco, if they can perform, it's going to be a magical summer.
How's the pitching going to be?
Actually, to be honest with you, I'm really excited for the pitching staff. I love the fact that they've got a bunch of young players who got their baptism of fire last year. Chad Cole, I was very impressed with the job that he did last year. And Trevor Williams, I watched him pitch a game in September last year against Rich Hill of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Okay.
And Rich Hill pitched a perfect game for 9 1/3 innings, okay? Mm-hmm. Watching there, and Trevor Williams matched him 0 for 0 for 9 innings, but every inning that Trevor Williams pitched, he had no less than 2 runners on base, and he still did not allow any runners to cross the plate. And that showed me that he was a fighter, that he's
learning to pitch,
and he can pitch, because pitching out of a jam, that's the whole art of pitching. You got nobody on base, it's one thing, but when every pitch counts and you're making the pitches, it's a completely different thing. So you've got those 2 young pitchers who I'm looking forward to watch. Nova, I think, had a good first half of the season last year and a poor second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken steps to correct that. Jamison Tyon, I think he's not going to be disappointing at all. Fifth starter, there's a couple of people fighting for that position, and I mean,
is anybody throwing the grapefruit around pretty good right now?
The grapefruit?
Any of the pitchers? Grapefruit league. Anybody throwing that around pretty good right now?
I don't understand what you're asking for.
Are they pitching real good right now?
Well, you see, what happens in spring training, Jim, is you're trying to condition your pitchers to be able to pitch in a game. So you start out with the pitcher pitches 1 inning, his first outing, then 2 innings. And what they call this stretching out the pitcher so that he's ready to go 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 innings as you get into the season. So right now, the pitchers are progressing. Some guys have had some good outings, some guys not so many. Tyler Glasnow has had some pretty remarkable outings, and then he's got shelled a few times. And I think what's going to happen with him, he was the next great thing supposed to come up. And I do believe Tyler Glasnow will start in the bullpen this year. I don't believe that he'll be one of the starting 5. He may eventually make his way into the starting rotation, but I think he would be a great long reliever. If
we have to see what he does, because in a AAA ball he can't do any better.
No, he can't.
He's actually pitched super, but he can't pitch that well in the major leagues.
And I don't think it's his
problem.
mechanics. I don't think it's his mechanics, and it's
Well,
not
they
his
messed
arm.
with it, and he went back
know
to
it's
what
right.
he-
It's right between
yeah.
his ears. Is where it is, and they're working very diligently trying to get him on track. But
Well, he did say that they talked to him about it, and they tried some things. He scrapped all that and went back to how he was throwing in the minors and was undefeated at the end of the season.
he had a once
And
he went
finished
back down to the
strong.
minors,
Well,
he did finish strong.
I saw a quote by him that he just scrapped everything and just started throwing the ball like he was used to. He was hitting 100-mile-per-hour fastballs.
Sometimes you got to quit overanalyzing everything, and just throw the ball. I mean, that's how you got to the position that you were in. And then everybody fills your head full of mush. Okay, so who do you listen to? Who don't you listen to?
Sounds like a kid that's uncoachable, but
What's that?
Sounds like a kid that's uncoachable. Trying to coach you.
Well, you know what? See, the only thing is you have to understand with baseball players is that baseball players don't develop at the rate that you do with football and basketball. It takes years. You think about it. Baseball is a very difficult sport to master. Not everybody can do it and do it well.
Yeah, I always hear that the hardest thing in sports to do is hitting the baseball. But
A round baseball
I see a lot of people
with a
doing
round
it.
bat.
I see a lot of people doing it.
Really? How many?
What do you see?
When
You
was
don't
the
watch
last
too much.
time? When
Come
was the
on,
last
man.
time that a
That
player
statement's
batted
no truth.
400 in a major league season? Let me take you all the way back to 1941. Okay, so some of the people that you think are the greatest
I like
players in every
300.
league.
I like 300 hitters.
That means you're failing 7 out of 10 times.
A lot of 300 hitters.
Yeah, no, you know who's not one of them? Barry Bonds.
Yeah, but
Look at his career statistics.
And you think
it's
he's
not
one
that
of the
they're not
greatest
hitting
hitters.
The ball, it's just that you got 9 people out there to catch it.
No, you don't.
Well, what you got out there?
8.
8.
You got a catcher.
He's behind the
can't catch
plate.
it.
Yeah, but
He's in foul territory.
He catches balls.
He's
too.
behind the
He
batter.
catches with a
He's
pop
in
up. He
foul
takes his mask
territory.
off.
The
and he catches.
catcher's behind the batter.
Yeah, but the ball goes back here sometime. He takes that mask
but
off
but
and
that's a
catches.
foul ball. That isn't even close to
That's
being
hitting.
in.
That's hitting.
No,
though.
it's not. A foul ball is a strike. That's not hitting.
Come on, Smoking Jim. You've only learned baseball in the last 6 years.
As a matter of fact, I was doing some statistics search lately, and I was looking at the best career batting average in Major League Baseball
History.
in the history of the game. Ty Cobb, number 1, 366. Rogers Hornsby, number 2, at 356 or 357.
I think there's been a few in the Negro leagues. Is that called Negro leagues or just major leagues?
Well, you know,
Their stats are questionable because they couldn't verify a lot of that
here's
stuff.
what the problem was with the statistics from the Negro leagues. They were incomplete. By Josh Gibson, okay, they say that he potentially hit 800 home runs in his career, but there's only a record of him only hitting less than 200.
I heard about close to 1,000.
Any
couldn't
one of those
verify it.
numbers could
Both
be
of
right.
those are
Because,
good. Yeah.
They couldn't verify
They're
that.
good.
They said,
you know what, and you could be right, Jim.
But here's the problem with baseball. Always had a problem with. Now you always say you like Willie Stargell.
Yes.
And I'm sure you like Willie Stargell.
chicken on the hill with Will,
But
baby.
if Willie Stargell would have played in a modern day stadium, look at all the home runs. There's no. I always figured there should be just like football fields 100 yards, but every stadium should be the same. Willie Stargell had to play in Yellowstone Park, Forbes Field. And that's why he had less than 500
you know what?
home runs. Don't you agree?
Well,
That's a
you know
shame.
what?
That's
You
a problem
know,
with baseball.
he did play in a big stadium.
Yeah.
How about Willie Mays? Do you know anything about Willie Mays? Willie Mays is probably one of the greatest players to play the game.
I agree
Willie
with that.
Mays hit 663 home
That's a
runs.
lot.
Okay,
That's a
he
lot.
played in the biggest stadium in the world, the Polo Grounds in New York, where you know how far the fence was from home plate and center field? 478 feet.
Wow.
Okay, then he moved from that stadium to Windlestick Park
Candlestick.
in San Francisco.
Wendell
In San
State.
Francisco.
Yeah, Wendell.
And if he would not have played the majority of his career in that ballpark, he would have easily hit 800 home runs.
So you agree
Anybody
with
that
me.
knows.
You agree with
so,
me there.
But that's part of the beauty of baseball.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It should be the stadium should be all the same size.
The
Why?
beauty of each individual stadium is what gives baseball its uniqueness.
That's
Hey,
why it's the
Smoking
third
Jim Frazier,
most
when they
famous.
built Forbes Field,
Uh-huh.
it didn't even have outfield walls
Wow.
when they
I
first
didn't know that.
built it.
I didn't know
It
that.
had no outfield walls.
Wow. I never knew that.
That's
Wall's
just how
still
things-
standing down in Oakland.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
later on,
Do you know what happens every October 13th?
Uh-uh.
They replay the game, and a crowd of people gather out there where Mazeroski hit his home run.
yes, they do.
Every year.
A guy come from Ohio asked me, he's a fan of our show, asked me to come out there and meet him, but he didn't call me, so didn't meet him. Hey, thanks for watching our show. We got a little carried away today. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to Dave Cable, Devin Shea, and all of you watching our show. And please stay Joey strong. You are already a 10. Imagine the possibilities with me at your side.